started, the word hasn't been coined. The word was top model when I started.
Imagine walking into a high fashion show in Paris, 1980s, and the room can't take their eyes off you. Not because you're late, but because you're this stunning Filipina face bringing something fresh to a runway dominated by European looks. The photographers scramble, designers whisper, and fashion editors lean forward in their seats. Why? Because you're crushing it with every step, literally. Fashion insiders still talk about that distinctive, powerful walk that became her signature. That's Anna Bayle. But here's what no one's talking about. How did a pre-med student from Manila who never even planned to model end up becoming one of the most sought-after Asian faces in high fashion? How did she manage to build an international career when the industry was notorious for its lack of diversity? And why would someone walk away from it all at the peak of her career? Stick around because we're diving into the untold story of Anna Bayle, one of the pioneering Asian models who helped change the face of fashion when diversity wasn't even on the radar. Let's rewind back to Manila, Philippines, December 6, 1956. Anna Bayle enters the world as one of 7 kids in a Filipino family. But this wasn't your average childhood. Anna was smart, like scary smart. She got into Philippine Science High School, the kind of place where they only take the absolute brightest kids from across the entire country. We're talking future doctors, scientists, engineers, and apparently supermodels. Anna's plan? Become a doctor. She was crushing her pre-med classes at the University of the Philippines, on track to fulfill her family's dreams. Books, labs, study groups, that was her world. Catwalks and fashion shows? Not even on her radar. But life had other plans, and they started with her friends basically daring her to enter a beauty pageant. Can you picture it? This serious science student reluctantly letting her friends talk her into entering a pageant like, "Fine, I'll do it, but I'm going back to my biology textbook right after." And guess what? She'd soon be discovered. But the path wasn't as direct as the beauty pageant fairy tales we often hear about. Anna's entrance into modeling came through connections in the local fashion scene. Filipino designer Augie Cordero became an important mentor, recognizing Anna's potential and helping introduce her to the modeling world. Anna started booking local gigs in Manila, but let's be real. In the 1970s, being a Filipino model meant serious limitations. The international fashion world wasn't exactly known for diversity, but Anna wasn't thinking about breaking barriers yet. She was just following this unexpected new path, one runway at a time. Anna's career took her from Manila to Hong Kong, where she began building her international portfolio. The Hong Kong fashion scene in the late 70s was dynamic and growing, offering opportunities that weren't available back home. It gave her the experience and confidence she needed before taking the ultimate leap, moving to Paris, the heart of high fashion. Her Paris debut came courtesy of Thierry Mugler, a designer known for theatrical avant-garde fashion. Mugler saw something in Anna that other designers had missed, that unique blend of elegance, attitude, and that walk. That signature walk. Let me tell you about that walk. It wasn't taught. It wasn't copied. It was pure Anna. Industry insiders often described it as powerful, commanding, almost like she owned every inch of that runway. Deliberate, distinctive, with a touch of sass. It became her trademark, the thing that made designers and audiences sit up and take notice. Models would study her runway videos, trying to capture that same confident energy, but nobody could quite replicate an Anna Bayle strut. Anna once said in an interview, "I wasn't trying to be different. I was just being myself. I didn't know any other way to walk." That authenticity, that's what made her stand out in a sea of models trying to be someone else. Once Paris got a taste of Anna Bayle, the fashion world couldn't get enough. Suddenly, she was working with prominent designers, Thierry Mugler, Jean-Louis Scherer, and other influential fashion houses. These weren't just any designers. These were creative visionaries, and Anna was showcasing their designs with that signature presence that made her stand out. The 80s fashion scene was wild, extravagant, and competitive as hell. Models would literally elbow each other backstage to get prime spots in the lineup. But Anna, she didn't need to fight. Designers were fighting over her. At her peak, Anna was one of the busiest models on the circuit. Do you have any idea how physically grueling Fashion Week is? Different outfits, different makeup looks, different vibes, and rushing across Paris between shows. Hair being pulled, makeup being scrubbed off and reapplied, blisters forming on your feet from those killer heels. Most models today complain about doing a few shows per day. Anna was booked solid throughout fashion weeks, sometimes with multiple major designers in a single day, and still made it look easy. The woman was a machine. Beyond the runway, Anna was becoming a fixture in fashion magazines. Publications that rarely featured Asian faces were suddenly showcasing Anna Bayle in editorial spreads and fashion features. She worked with some of the industry's most prestigious photographers, artists who defined what beauty looked like for generations. Anna didn't just book jobs, she became one of the most recognizable and in-demand models during the 1980s. Let that sink in. At a time when Asian representation was practically non-existent in Western fashion, Anna wasn't just present, she was making history with every booking. In an industry that typically treated Asian models as exotic novelties, Anna was a legitimate fashion star. But success didn't come without challenges. The fashion industry in the 80s was even more brutal than it is today. Anna dealt with racism, tokenism, and the constant pressure of being the first and the only Asian model at her level. She once shared in an interview, "Sometimes I'd arrive at a casting and they'd look confused, like they'd called the wrong person. I'd have to remind them they specifically asked for Anna Bayle. Can you imagine having to constantly prove you belong, even after booking major shows and editorials?" The loneliness was real too. As the only Asian model at her level, there was no community, no shared understanding. She was carving the path alone, without a blueprint. Every misstep wasn't just her problem. It could potentially close doors for other Asian models trying to break in after her. There were days when I'd look around backstage and realize I was the only non-white face in the room, she shared in later reflections on her career. It's a strange feeling, being both celebrated for your uniqueness and isolated because of it. This isolation extended beyond just the visual difference. It was in the small daily challenges. Makeup artists who didn't know how to work with her skin tone, hairstylists unfamiliar with her hair texture, designers who'd made assumptions about her body type based on stereotypes. Each day brought new reminders that she was navigating uncharted territory. While her visibility as a Filipina model was itself meaningful representation during a time when diversity was rarely discussed, Anna navigated the industry with a focus on professionalism and excellence. Her presence on international runways spoke volumes without her needing to make formal statements about representation. Behind the glamour, Anna was also navigating the notorious party scene of 80s fashion. Studio 54, Paris nightclubs, Milan after-parties. The temptations were endless. Models around her were falling into drugs, destructive relationships, and burnout. But Anna kept her focus sharp. "I was there to work," she revealed in interviews about that era. "I enjoyed the social aspects, but I never forgot why I was there. I had responsibilities and goals." Unlike many of her contemporaries who got caught up in the excesses of the industry, Anna maintained a sense of purpose. Maybe it was that pre-med discipline still lingering in her approach to life. Or maybe it was her awareness that as a pioneering Asian model, she couldn't afford the same mistakes others might bounce back from. "When you're breaking barriers, you don't get second chances," she once explained. "I knew I was representing not just myself, but opening doors for others who looked like me." That sense of responsibility became her superpower in an industry that chewed up and spat out even the most promising talents. While the tabloids were filled with stories of model meltdowns and scandals, Anna stayed focused on building a sustainable career. That discipline set her apart. While other models might show up hungover or high to shoots, Anna was professional, prepared, and present. Designers could count on her, which is partly why she maintained consistent work when others struggled. By the early 90s, Anna Bayle had achieved everything a model could dream of. She had walked for many notable designers, appeared in prestigious fashion editorials, and worked with celebrated photographers and designers. She was at the absolute peak of her career. And then, in 1994, she walked away from it all. Fashion insiders were shocked. Why would someone at the height of their powers just quit? Most models get pushed out when they age or when trends change. They don't choose to leave when they're still booking top jobs. But Anna's decision made perfect sense to those who really knew her. Modeling had never been her end goal. It was a detour, an adventure, but not her life's purpose. She had conquered the fashion world as one of the pioneering Asian models, and now it was time for the next chapter. After stepping away from the runway, Anna didn't just disappear to some beach. She reinvented herself, transitioning into new ventures. From being in front of the camera to working behind the scenes, Anna brought her industry knowledge and connections to her new career paths. What's fascinating about Anna is how she approached her post-modeling life with the same determination that made her a runway star. While many former models struggle with the transition, Anna embraced it. She understood that her value wasn't just in her appearance, but in her business savvy, her work ethic, and her understanding of the fashion world from the inside out. Later, she ventured into business. The networking skills, poise, and professionalism she honed on the runway proved valuable in her post-modeling career. Anna approached her business ventures with the same determination that had made her stand out in the fashion world. The fashion industry teaches you to be resilient and adaptable, she reflected in interviews about her career transition. Those skills are invaluable in any profession. On the personal front, Anna maintained a private life away from the spotlight. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she managed the transition out of modeling with grace and strategic thinking, understanding that a modeling career, however successful, has a natural timeline. Today, Anna continues to be involved in the fashion world in various capacities, sharing her decades of industry knowledge with new generations. She occasionally provides commentary on the evolution of the industry and the progress of Asian representation in fashion. She's come full circle, from being photographed and written about to being one who can help shape the narrative. But just when everyone thought Anna Bayle's runway days were firmly in the past, she's occasionally made appearances at fashion events, reminding the industry of her enduring legacy. Decades after her heyday, her influence can still be felt in how the industry has slowly opened up to more diverse faces and perspectives. Anna Bayle's story represents an important chapter in fashion history. As one of the breakthrough Asian models in Western high fashion, she helped pave the way for greater diversity in an industry that was notoriously homogeneous. Before models like Anna, the idea of an Asian woman as a fashion icon in Paris and beyond was rarely seen. Her success helped expand the industry's narrow definition of beauty. Look at the runway today: Liu Wen, Fernanda Lee, Suju Park, Mona Tugard. They're building on the foundation that earlier models like Anna Bayle helped establish. She was part of a pioneering group that showed the fashion world that beauty isn't defined by Western standards alone, that Asian features could be celebrated rather than exoticized. What made Anna truly exceptional wasn't just her stunning looks or that signature walk. It was her strategic mind. From her very first steps into the industry, she approached modeling not just as a creative endeavor, but as a business. She understood market dynamics, recognized her unique value proposition, and knew exactly how to leverage her distinctive appeal. This business acumen came into play when negotiating fees, selecting which designers to work with, and deciding when to pivot to new opportunities. In an era when models were often exploited financially and treated as disposable, Anna approached her career with savvy that protected both her finances and her future. "I never saw modeling as the end goal," she's explained. "It was a stepping stone, a chapter in a longer story I was writing for myself." That perspective kept her grounded when fame came and prepared her for the transition when she chose to leave the spotlight. It's worth noting that Anna's success came at a time when iconic Japanese model Sayoko Yamaguchi had already broken ground for Asian models in high fashion in the 1970s. Together with models like China Machado, these pioneering women were slowly changing perceptions in a Eurocentric industry. Anna Bayle built on this foundation and added her own chapter to this evolving story of representation. What's remarkable about Anna's story isn't just what she accomplished, but how she accomplished it. With intelligence, strategy, and dignity. Without the scandals or drama that often follow fashion stars, She navigated the notoriously fickle industry with the same precision and purpose that characterized her runway walk. "I never saw limitations," Anna once said. "I only saw possibilities. If someone told me no because of how I looked, I just found someone else who would say yes." That determination is what made Anna Bayle more than just a beautiful face. She was a groundbreaker who calculated her every move, a pioneer who used her science-trained mind to navigate a creative industry, a woman who never forgot where she came from. So next time someone talks about the pioneering models who diversified the runways, make sure they include Anna Bayle in that conversation. She wasn't just part of fashion history, she helped reshape it. Her legacy lives on in every aspiring model from Asia who now sees the runway as a possibility, not an impossibility. It lives on in industry practices that have slowly, too slowly perhaps, begun to embrace a more global vision of beauty. And it lives on in the confidence with which Asian models now stride down those same runways that once seemed so inaccessible. So, who's your favorite trailblazing model? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know which other fashion pioneers deserve their flowers. I'll see you in the next video where we'll uncover more fashion stories that haven't gotten the attention they deserve.